Welcome to the Startup Grind.
From the US, I know that, was there some guys in Germany that had a slightly similar name or same premise and trying to rip you off?
Well, I mean, everyone tries to rip us off. It's the internet. So we have lots of copycat, competitors. And, I think that the most celebrated competitor is a group that actually got their logo designed on 99Designs. Wrote their business plan based on their experience and actually raised $3.5 million before we had, so well before us. And so that was actually a bit of a competitive threat, but we've crushed them. So we have had lots of inspired competitors. Some so inspired that in fact they forget to change the phone number when they've copied our site. So we have had to call them and say, hey, we're receiving your customer support calls. But so now Eva, the general manager of our European operation and the founder of 99Designs, claims that, in fact, she hadn't really heard about us before she came up with the name. And in fact, her background was in agencies. And so the original presence for her name was that she thought the maximum number of designers that you would need to participate in a contest would be 12. And so that's how she came up with the name. And she actually did go and raise, I think, nearly $1 million euros to build her business in Berlin. Then when she was in the sort of capital raising process, that's when she learnt about us, but she continued to go. And so, yeah. And then, we were able to acquire her in August of last year. And I think one of the lessons that came out of acquiring her that I think is worth imparting to you guys is that, being a little European business, meaning, she's thinking globally from day one, and we think globally from day one too. I think that's one of the special traits about Australian businesses typically is our market's not big enough to sustain us, and so we have to think outside our shores, typically, especially if you're an online business. And so for Eva, it was the same thing. So she's in Germany, and so her investors are actually based in Spain, so they're like, cool, grow in Spain, So she was in 4 languages in 6 months of her existence. And so what that ultimately meant that was she was unable to really focus on her market, her home market, which was Germany. And so she built a great business in Germany, but it wasn't as good as it could have been if she had just stayed focused on that market. And so why she was attractive to us was that she had 5 people, including herself, and she was servicing 5 languages, with the 4 support staff. So when we looked at her, we're like, well, she understands a lot about being an international business. Berlin seems like a great city in which to operate and have a customer support team and a marketing support team that are multilingual, which is very hard to achieve here in Australia or in San Francisco. But there was a disbursement of her spend that meant that she perhaps wasn't as big as she could have been because she was unable to focus, and she added layers of complexity to her business, which you can't really do when you're a startup. So I think it's been great for us to go through that and talk with her and share those learnings. And now I'm like, cool, it really shows you just how important it is to be laser focused, and certainly laser focused in the beginning. And I think when you start to think about, moving outside your market, your home market, or whatever market you're going for in the first instance, you really have to be focused on you have to make sure that you've got scale that can support it, because it's a significant investment, it's hard to do, and it's going to add complexity.